No one likes me. They think I'm unattractive. I don't like myself.
I usually don't like to make this type of videos. And honestly, I didn't even think I would decide to go through with this, despite people telling me to. Because there's so much out there against us all that are much more important topics. I don't want to be one of those cringe-maxing dudes trying to cause fighting and drama in the community. But also there comes a point where I need to speak up. And sadly, this is the case with the recent Goddess video. He was kind to me before. Same with Austin Wayne and others. So this ain't personal. You know, I thought I wouldn't decide to make this video. I thought his video would be somewhat grounded. Reasonable takes with a little bit of reaching and coping at times. Before I watched it completely, I thought it would be another nutrition video. I didn't expect it to be absolutely insane like this. I mean wild claims. I was mind blown. And so will you, trust and believe. Absolutely underwhelming in terms of actual data and evidence. A lot of weak arguments based on poor reasoning, logic failures and jumping to conclusions. There were so many sections I was like, bro, how did this pass your editing phase? There is no way you actually have seen that section during the editing again. You got to see that part again during editing but didn't think, man, I gotta take this out. But you know, this video ain't about him. Ain't about Goddess. I genuinely have nothing against them, guys. Or against Austin Wayne, or Frank Tufano, for that matter. Nothing personal. Because truth be told, I don't really follow the channels in diet category, if I am completely honest. Because I am not interested in food and nutrition content. All the more power to them. I am not against it, it just doesn't interest me. But I do have to tell you the truth also. I can't stay silent.
Whenever I was focused on growing my size, my height, all of it, every day, man, I would have 1 gallon of raw, unpasteurized, grass-fed cow's milk from a farm. Once you cook it, you're pretty much ruining the milk. I would only eat wild-caught fish, grass-fed steaks, pasture-raised eggs, grass-fed butter.
Austin Wayne, for example. He's a nice dude. He's a good sport. He doesn't take everything too seriously, you know, easygoing, but I gotta tell it as it is. Just because they are being kind to me, I can't stay silent, bro. So these guys are overhyping the effects of nutrition on bone structure a lot. And I mean a lot. Absolutely crazy stuff they are saying. Oh, the child of Brad Pitt and Scarlett Johansson would be an asymmetrical abomination if the child eats broccoli instead of raw meat. I mean, crazy stuff.
For example, Brad Pitt and Scarlett Johansson, very beautiful people, could have children, but if the child eats cornflakes with soy milk, he's gonna be super underdeveloped, asymmetrical face, you name it. Everything is gonna go wrong.
And then you're gonna remember Austin Wayne. Oh brother, only 60 to 80% of height is genetic. The rest is my gummy bears. Oh, this is scientifically proven. He's misrepresenting the study to imply that. Or at least he's wording it that way to make it sound like you can change your height growth up to 40%. Which was absolutely not what the study was saying. That 60 to 80% being genetic is only about the height difference in twins, twin brothers. It doesn't say your total height growth could be 20 to 40% higher if you eat right.
Say we go based off the math of height growth, for example. So height growth is only 60 to 80% genetic, 20 to 40% environmental.
Then you have got Frank Tufano. Oh, raw meat. But did Frank Tufano keep eating raw meat to get that jaw he has? Or did he get a double jaw surgery? And now he's selling mewing gum and raw meat for you, double jaw surgery and hair transplant for them. You guys know how it is. And once again, I am not against eating healthy. And I actually believe, even with misrepresented data and with other motives in mind, they actually did some good, actually helped some men feel better and live healthier. Eating right, clean and right, will benefit you a lot. Combined with regular exercise, and I'm not talking about abusing your body to get bigger, but a regular physical exercise routine. It's gonna do wonders for your physical fitness, and it is gonna lift up your mood as well. So that is why, up until this point, I didn't want to talk about this. Because even though they are giving some false information and reaching to jump to conclusions, I thought they were doing some good too. But this is getting out of hand, guys. This diet cop has to be addressed. I have to do this. The truth is, there is no evidence, nor logic, strong logic behind the notion that eating better will override your genetic destiny. That it is going to have an impact, significant impact on your craniofacial structure. There might be some effect, but to what extent? That is the question. The literature theorizes that over multiple generations, after hundreds of years, the effects will be visible on craniofacial structure. But if you talk about a single child or a first gen, the effect of diet on craniofacial bone structure is very questionable. And I'm not talking about just losing weight and making the existing bones under the fat more visible. I am talking about actually changing your bone structure as an adult. When I was researching, the only things I could find was after generations. In rats, after generations, it led to bigger skulls. But then again, this is after generations. In rats, I couldn't find much myself between craniofacial structure growth and development in humans and diet during childhood. So I was expecting maybe Goethes will come up with scientific receipts that I haven't heard about before. Instead, turns out that it is just clip compilations and some cat experiment from 1930s. A bunch of selection bias examples. Oh look, this guy eats raw meat and he looks good. I was actually disappointed. Disappointed at how lacking it was in any substantial information, in any actual proof. I was genuinely expecting it to be a lot more informative. So let me play some parts.
One group of cats received raw meat or cooked meat along with the basic diet. The other group of cats were given raw milk, pasteurized milk, evaporated milk, or sweetened condensed milk. The pasteurized milk-fed cats, shown here, move about the pen in a manner quite different from the raw milk cats. They are lethargic, much like animals in a zoo. Disturbing as these observations might be, the impaired balance, the lack of energy, the dental deterioration, some of the most significant findings emerged as Pottinger extended his study down to the second and third generations. Almost immediately, Pottinger noticed that animals fed the raw meat diet for 2 generations appeared larger than the same generation of cooked meat cats. At 16 weeks, this second generation raw meat cat weighs 2,000 grams, while the second generation cooked meat animal only comes up to 1,600 grams. Compare the black kitten with this raw meat kitten. The sheen, the sparkle of the eyes.
He puts a lot of weight on this documentary. It is based on an old 1930 experiment on cats. So even if you take this old experiment at face value, bro, there is completely different species. Different species will have different nutrition needs. They will have different flexibility when it comes to absorbing food. What they can digest and how they digest it is different. Their anatomy is completely different from humans. And even in this documentary, it says that the difference was observed in physiology only after 2 to 3 generations. So right off the bat, spending so much time trying to build your argument on a 1930 cat experiment is a questionable decision.
Resulting from a failure in development. The cooked meat cats were unable to successfully reproduce after the 3rd generation. On the other hand, the raw meat animals continued to reproduce healthy offspring generation after generation.
He is jumping to conclusions without offering any strong evidence or logic. He asked a question but couldn't even answer it himself. By his definition, since we are now cooking meat and food more compared to the past, and since it is not about genetics but simply about eating raw meat, humans should be getting shorter and uglier, right? But that ain't the case. Or likewise, I can give you another example. The Japanese people should have stronger jaw and forward growth compared to other nations. They should be taller. They are still eating plenty of raw fish. I mean, their national food is literally raw fish. Sushi and sashimi. Sushi and sashimi shops are dime a dozen, sold in every corner, every grocery store. So there is not some high status, rich people's food in Japan. Then you have another well-known example, Eskimos, right? By that logic, Eskimos and Japanese should have the strongest forward growth and strongest mandibles. They should be taller than anyone else. By this logic, humans should be getting shorter and uglier. If the prevalence of food, the tradition of cooking meat is more harmful, is more important than natural selection and genetics, then that should be the case, right? I am just asking basic questions, by the way. Even asking these simple questions is enough to poke countless holes in his argument. Again, I am giving you a basic example, a very basic example. Is a counter-argument. I am not necessarily claiming that eating raw meat cannot create any difference over generations. Over generations, it can create some difference. It can lead to taller height and better craniofacial structure. That part is reasonable, but if you are going to make a claim that it can create a significant, observable difference in a person's lifetime, then you'll have to prove that, brother. Then you will need stronger arguments than just, oh, ugly people just didn't eat enough raw meat. You're ugly because your dad didn't feed you raw fish. I am sure Sean O'Pride and Jeremy Meeks grew up on sushi and raw milk, fresh off the cows. I mean, sure, there is a correlation between rich people having easier access to better food and also being more attractive on average. And I do believe that both contribute to each other and create a significant change over generations. You get richer, you eat better. You are more likely to be more attractive than poor people on a poor diet. But that doesn't mean the diet can override genetic factors. That is a ridiculous claim, bro. You think Jeremy Meeks, who come from streets, from a broken family, was eating world-class sushi for dinner? Come on, bro. Bro, this is insane. And this is actually one of the most outrageous, laughable claims I have heard in a while. Oh, there won't be any attractive humans left soon. Bro, that is insane. He's talking like 200 years ago everybody was walking around looking like Sean O'Pride and prime Brad Pitt. Brother, do you really think the average guy was more attractive physically 200 years ago compared to today? Delusional. And for those of you who are gonna say, oh yeah, the average man today is struggling more in dating now than 200 years ago. Guys, that is not because they are uglier. Men are uglier today, but because women now can choose freely. And there is online dating now. Don't get it twisted. We are not uglier than in the past. The oofy doofy of the past, like you see the oofy doofy of the past and you are gonna look at the oofy doofy of now and you are gonna say, okay, there's an improvement. After all, the oofy doofy of now isn't so bad, right? We are not uglier than in the past. We are growing taller, significantly taller, and also getting more physically attractive. But that is not because of nutrition, but because of the natural selection process. Thanks to natural selection now, we are getting taller and more attractive. The median human, average median human, is getting more and more attractive. That statement is a cop out of this world, bro. I mean, wow. He said soon there will be no attractive people left. That is crazy. That is actually crazy. And that is only because we don't drink raw milk. Guys, does cooking the meat, the milk, decrease the nutrition value? Yes. But if you want to make a claim like, oh, its impact, nutrition impact on looks is significant. And even more important, not only significant, but more important than genetics. If you are going to make a claim like that, you will need better arguments, proof than some 19th century experiment on cats. Sean O'Pride didn't become Sean O'Pride because he grew up on raw meat.
But there are hundreds of thousands of housewives who cannot afford to buy enough of the high-grade protective foods. All they can do is to feed their families with the lower-grade filling foods so that they won't feel hungry. Thus there is no starvation, but their physical development may...
I love how he concludes this guy has good genetics. Goddess was able to tell he has good genes with certainty. That his narrow long face isn't a genetic trait, but a result of not eating raw meat when he was a child. He concluded that perfectly. And I love how he just shows random male models during his clips and examples when the documentary is talking about cats. Bro, then you can go Google vegan male models. I am sure you will find plenty of stuff, plenty of examples. If it is about showing anecdotal examples, you will find plenty of vegan models, male models with strong mandibles. Look man, I don't even have any horse in this race. I am not a vegan, and I actually enjoy sushi and sashimi as well. I don't have anything against Goddess. I consider him friendly forces. So I don't have a horse in this vegan versus carnivores fight. But goddess, brother, you are not doing a very good job at convincing me here. Carnivore diet didn't save Frank from a slacked jaw, or you from a nuked hairline. But when it comes to others, when that weak jaw and balding happens to others, to non-carnivore people, he presents that as some sort of proof. Funny how that one works, right?
Be interfered with, and their resistance to disease lowered.
Babies need plenty of milk. They need daily cod liver oil, so does the expectant and nursing mother. Liver, lightly cooked, is a valuable food for her. New scientific knowledge has shown us a new standard of life at which to aim. A new charter is being written for the people of the world. And by whatever means the problem is tackled, a better level of health and
I agree that people eating processed food will not get the same nutritions, but I am not sure what this has to do with eating raw meat. If humans are overall less healthy than 100 years ago because they are eating less raw meat, again, you need to prove that. Because as far as I know, you can get your nutrition from other sources too.
He went to villages where there were roads that were bringing in the foods of commerce, as he called them, displacing foods of modern commerce. And there he found a very different situation. He found one tooth in 3 was decayed, and the children who were born to the parents who had changed their diets, they had more narrow faces.
Menus are working in some schools, and the rules are long overdue.
This is really about our children and the health of our children, and making sure that we do a better job of providing fruits and vegetables and low-fat dairy and whole grains. Why? Because a third of our youngsters are obese or at risk of being obese.
At 2.5 years old, he was reading 4-year-old material to other preschoolers in preschool. 4-year-old material, and nobody taught him to read. Nobody taught him the alphabet. And I mean, this is the kind of children, when they're raised on this diet, that are like that.
Jackson loves broccoli. Here, baby, you hold it.
Try it again.
I love how he just says stuff with such certainty, but does nothing to prove it to the viewer, to the average viewer. Guys, I am not a professional regarding foods. It is not my field. But vegetables and fruits having no nutrition, that should be something very easy to prove. Like, this is crazy. Oh, broccoli, it is poison. Your mouth touched broccoli and blueberries, 100% deformed. Your child will be cursed by Voldemort and consumed by shadows. It is just funny how he puts 100% guaranteed deformed and cursed forever on everything. For every group, every category of food, 100% guaranteed and deformed. Yeah. If you eat anything other than raw animal organs, 100% deformed and cursed forever.
Believe that they have bad genes and that's it, it's just over for them. And any children that they will have bad genes also. What bad genes? Most of the people today who complain about their looks have been malnourished. They didn't develop well. They don't look the way they were supposed to look like. Their blueprint is different than the way they ended up looking because they were malnourished. And that's because of these modern new diets. It never used to be like this. Usually back in the day, the way you were supposed to look like was the way you ended up looking.
Now, are there many people like this? Sure. I mean, he's partly right. What he said there is true for some people. Because they eat unhealthy garbage food 24/7. They are obese. They got double chin and what have you, right? Those guys gotta lose weight. Guys, if you are fat, you gotta lose weight. If you don't know what you look like with a low body fat, you gotta lose weight. But how do you conclude that this is the case for most people who don't consume raw meat? If I am eating a balanced diet, if I am lean and muscled, hitting the gym, but still ugly and short, or yeah, that is not what you were supposed to look like, that is not your blueprint, you are balding and short, not because your dad is also bald and short, but because you ate broccoli. Blame the broccoli, bro. And I also love how he doesn't ever bring up the balding issue. Balding, he just dismisses that. Dude, I am telling you, if he wasn't bald himself, if he didn't have to get a hair transplant, he would 100% blame balding on not eating raw meat too. Maybe he does in his other videos, I don't know. Again, I am only going off of this video. This is not a hit piece, so I am not going through every video of his to criticize him. But a lot of claims in this video, he keeps repeating them without even offering a solid logical line. By the way guys, I don't mean to make fun of him for getting a hair transplant. I mean, I've got plenty of procedures done myself. And not only I have done it myself, but I also advocate for it on this channel many times. I am in favor of it. And he looks much better now. Congrats, brother. Like, the difference is day and night. It is a great procedure, man. You look much better. I'm just saying, like, he would have used it as a proof if he didn't experience balding himself.
There's many cultures, like in the Arctic, where a lot of it is raw. Honestly, you have blood and raw meats and things like that. It's almost silly to cook things up here. It's a bit of a waste.
Yeah, this is the same thing I have mentioned in the beginning. The clip he played himself kinda undermines his own message. If those traits were not mainly genetic, by that logic, Eskimos shouldn't have been 5'3". They should be 6'3". You know what I'm saying? Like, they shouldn't have people among them with weak mandible bones. Shouldn't have people with flat faces. Your own example proves you wrong, proves your point wrong.
Hunting is men's work, and the gathering of felt food is primarily a woman's task.
9 years old and above need 8-ounce glasses of water a day. This is an 8-ounce glass.
There is no water in the Kalahari Desert, and these people depend for moisture entirely on whatever melons or roots they find growing wild in the veldt.
When you cook with ground meat, wash your hands in hot soapy water before you start prepping, and then every time you touch raw meat, and again when you're finished. Also, use a dedicated cutting board just for raw meat.
This ensures that even the less fortunate hunters and their families will receive meat from the hunt.
I see the point he's trying to make, but bro, those African tribes don't live the best life. They gotta deal with plenty of diseases because of that. Yes, they are indeed surviving. They might be surviving on raw meat, but this is not the flex you think it is, brother. Not the proof of concept like you think it is. There is not something to look up to. Bro, those tribes are not the most healthy. And they have their own short and ugly people among them. The examples you show, societies that mainly consume raw meat, prove you wrong.
Leftovers need to be put away in the refrigerator as quickly as you can, as soon as you're done eating. In general, after 2 hours, everything should be put away in the refrigerator. Or Amy, if you're eating outside and the temperatures are over at 90 degrees, you want to bring it in within an hour.
Anything not eaten is cut into strips and hung. Although the sun causes the meat to rot as fast as it dries, it is still palatable and will keep hunger at bay for a week or more. A lovely sense of security pervades the...
Your genes are not gonna help you if you don't have proper food as a child. For example, Brad Pitt and Scarlett Johansson, very beautiful people, could have children, but if the child eats cornflakes with soy milk, he's gonna be super underdeveloped, asymmetrical face, you name it, everything is gonna go wrong.
This is next level. Guys, did he just say that? Did he just say with a straight face that the child of Brad Pitt and Scarlett Johansson would be an asymmetrical, disgusting abomination? Brother, if you really believe that, that is tough. Guys, I thought I wouldn't need to make this video. I thought I was just gonna look at it, okay, this is grounded, reasonable takes, just a bit of reaching here and there. It is gonna be a boring video, but wow. Wow. Oh yeah, brother, your genes are 10 out of 10. It is just you ate broccoli, bro.
You're not gonna shake my hand? Are you scared? Like, do you think am I that heinous?
I think you're a creep. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You say that with such a smile, though. Is that?
Because it's funny. I mean, it's funny when creeps come up and talk to you.
Really? But it happens all the time.
Funny.
But you're not running away. You're sitting there.
Well, I'm being paid to sit here.
You're being forced to.
Yeah.
That's what all women say to me, is they're being paid to sit next to me.
Right.
Hi, how are you today?
This is Stanley. That's downtown LA guy. This guy would record himself approaching randoms in downtown LA, random females that is. And he would say some of the most non-neurotypical things you can imagine. It was comedy, bro. I wonder what he's up to these days. Did he end up in jail? I mean, like, this guy, Goethes' video is too long. Over an hour. Only because he plays too many of these compilations and clips. Which I believe might be entertaining for the viewers who didn't watch them before. But the sections where he himself does commentary are quite short.
What are you up to? You look really nice.
What's up, bro?
Hi.
What's the deal? What are you doing?
I'm recording now.
You recording? Clearly they're uncomfortable. Keep that phone away.
I'm not doing anything.
Let me catch you doing that shit again.
What are you talking about? I'm a nice person. I'm a nice guy. I'm happy. Girl, hi. I like you. I like you. Happy New Year. What's your name?
Amanda.
Amanda? I'm Daniel. No, thank you. Do you like me? I like you, obviously. Wait. Hello? Bye. Happy New Year. Oh my God. Oh my God. Perfect lighting. I love you. I love you. Happy New Year. I love you.
Overall, when I look at what people talk about when it comes to looks and deformities, or they don't like this or that, it's usually really nutrition, hormones. They are usually complaining about their deformities, thinking that they are talking about their genes. Once they realize that it's a nutritional problem, they may stop worrying about it. They could at least accept that it is the way it is and they can still have children. These genes are there. Your genes are probably fine. You can still have healthy and well-developed children.
Again, I don't agree with this. Oh, it is not a genetic trait, but nutrition issue. You say that throughout the videos, but you haven't done enough to prove that, to convince people who already don't believe in your argument. If a viewer comes to your video without believing in your theories prior watching that, like, you are not doing a very good job at winning those people. If you are making a video like this, titled, "This is the only video you need to watch," and you are gonna dedicate over 30 minutes of this, this nutrition, raw meat cop, then you will need to do a better job, bro. That is all I am saying.
This is the biggest problem today. If people would realize that it's not the genetics that are at fault, they would be much more at peace. They would realize that they are simply complaining about underdeveloped or deformed bones, the jaw, whatever, the teeth. That's why almost everybody nowadays needs braces. It's not your genes, they're fine.
I don't think it would necessarily make you feel more at peace, because that means it is your fault. And your own mess up is why you are short, why you are ugly with a horse face. Mistakenly blaming yourself because you didn't eat enough raw meat is not how you make someone feel at peace, brother. I agree with some parts of his video. I agree with him on office, corporate work today, the work culture today being modern slavery. We are not supposed to live like that. But apart from that, I don't agree with the main underlying argument of his video. I just expected a better video. As someone who isn't a vegan, who enjoys raw fish dishes, even I am not salt. Yes, eating a good diet do play a role in increasing your height during adulthood. And it might have an impact on your facial development and bones as well. But how much? To what extent? That is the issue. The problem I have is the notion that, oh bro, you can be 20 to 40% taller with a better diet. No, you cannot. Nor can your face be 40% better with nutrition. If both of your parents have big crooked noses, eating a good diet ain't gonna give you a straight nose with a sharp jaw. So yeah, guys, wanted to talk about this because I have been hearing a lot of talk about this lately, about this raw meat diet cop. But this is all for this episode, guys. Don't be a free agent in life.